Hey, you all. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with my audio. Can you hear me? Hi, King of Kill. Shout out to my member, Teddy. I don't know if you can hear me or not, honestly. I was trying to get my audio to work with my AirPods today. I don't know what happened. Yesterday, it worked fine. I'm not sure about today, so let me know in the comments if you can actually hear me. And then we can talk about these companies. I have 5 companies that actually offer menstrual leave for their employees. Okay, thank you, Teddy. Thank you so much. Because I was like, I don't know if you can hear me. Cool. Hi, Angel. How are you? And I know I'm streaming from Twitch. I had someone from Twitch yesterday, and I totally forgot to call out that I also stream on Twitch. Hi, Beta. Beta. Hey. All right, so let's get into this conversation. I need to pick up my notes because I have to write these companies out because there's some that are in it. I think there's one in the US, there's one in India, there's one in Australia, they're spread out. But this topic of menstrual leave, do you think that women should be offered menstrual leave on a monthly basis? Because they're just to kind of realize that we have men and women in the room with menstrual cycles. For women, they can be unbearable for some. There's kind of a spectrum. For some women, it's a lot easier, it's more of a breeze, it's just a hassle because of the logistics of what is happening. For other women, it can, as you hopefully got from the thumbnail, it can put you you will just want to stay in the bed. You'll be hunched over. You'll be just in extreme pain from the cramps. Of course, you know about the hormones, the emotions, the changes. Certain people will say, oh, you're acting this way because you're on your menstrual cycle. And a lot of people do that to be rude or funny or whatever, but there is a change because of the hormone change in the body. So you're dealing with that. And I think from the menstrual leave aspect, I feel like it can be important, especially for women that, like me, my first day, it's rough, right? The first day when it starts, it's rough. So having a leave where I don't have to pick for my sick time, because people get sick. Like anyone can get sick, but not everyone is going to have a menstrual cycle, right? That's a totally different thing. It's almost like an accommodation for someone that has a certain disability, right? You're going to do certain things and offer certain things to them that other employees are not going to need. So, can it be that type of accommodation? So, we're going to talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about a few other topics, okay? Because I noticed a few things trending today. You know, we got a new tax bill, we got some remote employee situations where employees are just lying. They're just it's offering another issue for employers to where they can say, look, we need you back in the office, right? So we're talking about that too. So let's get into the this conversation about menstrual cycles. Like, should there be leave? Let's see what folks are saying in the comments, then we'll get into the articles. Hey, Angel. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I thank you for confirming my audio is good. Hi, Edward. Shout out to another member, Edward Smart. He was in here yesterday with me as well. Ted says no. No to what? What are you saying no to? Hey, Pandy, what do you think about this? Especially, you know, I want to hear from the men. I want to hear from the women. What do you think about this? Ted says offer full maternity leave. So, okay, that's a totally different. I'm just gonna, bring it down, bring it here. You're talking about maternity leave, right? So that's when a woman is actually pregnant, carrying a child. So that is considered a disability. Most companies are, required to offer leave, to offer maternity leave. Even more companies are saying, let's just offer, let's offer maternity leave and let's also offer paternity leave as well. Because, if a man has a wife that is pregnant, they're going to be going through it too. When that child gets here, they should be sharing, those responsibilities. And anyway, so that's a different conversation. We're talking about a woman that is not carrying a child, because when you start carrying a child, actually your menstrual is gone. You got another thing to deal with, right? You got a whole life form inside of you. But every woman would deal with a menstrual cycle, whether they choose to have a child or not. This would be awesome. Pandy is saying we're here. Pandy, we're here because yes, yes. Hello. Oh, hey, Mr. Wonder Rounds. How are you? Welcome in. King of Kill. I believe women should, as long as they realize it will widen the pay gap. I think it would relate closer to people that are with a disability, right? If they have a disability, you would need to accommodate that. So that could be a man or a woman, right? So I feel like it more so relates to that. Because there are men that there are some men that take all their vacation time in the year. There are some women that don't. But I do get where you're coming from. If you're working an hourly job, you're taking more time off, you are going to get paid less, of course. But with a salary position, who takes their time off, who doesn't, who takes their sick days, who doesn't take sick days, it's kind of a wash, right? Now it can hinder from promotion opportunities, though. If you're not there to take on more projects compared to someone else, then different aspects there too. Angel says, nope, we are stronger than that. I'm not. Hold on, Angel. Don't speak for me. Listen. And here's the thing. Everyone's menstrual cycle is different. I have a friend who she really goes through it. Like it's not just the first day for her. The entire process is rough. So every woman is going to be different. There are going to be women that say, like Angel says no. Angel's stronger than that. She can handle it, right? There's going to be other women, how their cycle is, how their body works. It's a rough time for them. And they're going to say, yes, please give me this day off. Please. It's going to be good for everybody because I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be in pain the entire day. I'm probably not going to be as productive. Why not just take the day off? The same as if someone were, those folks that would come to work completely sick. They're coughing, sneezing, hacking all over the place. Next thing you know, everyone else is so, but they're not productive. Like you're not your most productive self if you're feeling unwell. So they're saying instead of having to take your sick days, let's offer menstrual leave because that is a different aspect. That's something that women are particularly going to deal with that men won't. Interesting, but interesting. I like that because we got a little diversity here. Angel says, "Hey, she's good with it. You know, no, I'm good. I don't need it, right?" Whereas someone like me, I think Pandy is aligned with me. Is like, yes, bring it on, bring it on. Edward says, how will I know? That's funny. Hey, Sharky, just gonna highlight folks in here. Ted says, should there be menstrual leave if women work from home? Should there be menstrual leave? I think it doesn't really matter because if you're let's say you're sick, like for me, I had the Rona. I work from home. It made things a little easier for me, but I did have to take sick days. You know, I had to take time off because I needed to get better. So I equate that similarly to a menstrual leave. If you're kneeling over and you're in pain, just take the time off, right? Or take a half day off, whatever you need to do, right? Hello, Apple. This is the right time of the month to hear about this. Right, exactly. Please hit the like button. Thank you, Edward. Most women will be off at the same time. That's an interesting aspect too, because I don't think men know this or understand this. But, you know, let's say you're not working remotely. Generally, and this actually has happened to me many times, when you're around other women and you're working closely with other women, or you're with family, you got a bunch of sisters and you're with them all the time, or you got girlfriends and you're with them all the time, your cycles actually line up. Not in every case, but this is kind of a phenomenon of, and this actually happened to me recently. I was not happy. I was not happy. I was like, what happened? And my friend told me that hers changed. And, it's look, and she's African. And her sister friend, like African, like, I'm like, man, I must have the watered down blood. Like, I was only with you. How did I get changed? Why didn't you change with my, it's just interesting. It's a phenomenon, really. So I'm glad you brought that up, Apple Kiss. It does change. So if you have this dynamic with all the women on the same cycle, they're all taking the leave. What happens, right? Especially in an office like HR, where it's mostly women, public relations, a lot of folks executing in that space, women, nursing, right? What happens if all the nurses were to leave? So that is something to really consider. However, again, not everyone would take the leave. Only those people, like for example, Angel, even in this chat, she says no, she's good, so she would be working, and Pandy and me will take the day off, right? Unfortunately, it'll be hard to regulate and probably abuse, which is shameful. You would be surprised because thinking of sick time, depending on the person, there are plenty of people when they're sick, they don't take the time off. There are plenty of people that have vacation time, they don't take the time off. They want to, they want to work. So it really just depends on the person. Hi, Victoriously Shay. How are you? Okay, I'm going to pause in the comments. I want to talk about the actual companies. So the first one that I just want to highlight is an Indian-based company. It's called Zomato. It is like a DoorDash, so it would be the equivalent to DoorDash here in the United States. They are implementing it. It's a food-based delivery company. So Zomato has implemented this. So I want to pull this up. Let me see if I can actually find the article, because I don't make stuff up. I show you the proof. I show you what I'm looking at. But I thought that was interesting to see that there's a couple of companies that are doing it. They're actually talking the talk. They're not just saying we want to help women. During those times, they're actually doing the work. So let me see which one it is. Is it this one? There's so many. I have a couple of articles up. Let's see if this is the one. If not, we'll just jump to that company. So this is by the Washington Post, because we've been talking about this for a while. A lot of people have been inquiring about this fighting for this, and it's slowly happening. So the article is titled "Menstrual Leave: Why Some Companies Are Offering Time Off for Periods." And okay, so I have to jump to the next company. This one is Shani. It's a queer and feminist led astrology app company. Now, they have pushed and they have implemented that they'll have a 401k match and 4 months of paid parental leave. So this is an LA based company. This is in the United States, and it offers this benefit. And they're saying that they're actually offering unlimited menstrual leave for people with uteruses. I like how they're saying people with uteruses instead of women, because we know that they're working through the transplants and things. So who knows what that will have for us in the future. But that is the basis of Shani. So this is Shani, Chani. I'll throw it in the chat so you know. So this is the first one. They're offering menstrual leave. They're based in LA. So that's the first one. Let me see if I can find the DoorDash company, because there was an article from India. And I liked how they highlighted this too. So yeah, there are companies that are offering it. They are offering it slowly but surely. It sounds like some people like it, some people hate it. But honestly, I feel like the only folks that should weigh in heavily about this are going to be the ones that actually have this, they have this monthly time where they could be inactive, right? I'm trying to find the article. All right, let me see what you all said in the chat. But that's the first company. Hi, Conscious Business Services. How are you? How are you doing? Penny is saying, welcome in. Thank you for welcoming everybody in here. So Edward says, I agree with Angel. Giving leave is a bit much. This is why they have Midol. But Edward, and you're a man, Midol doesn't make it go away. That's like telling me, so I had Rona, and telling me you better take this flu medicine and get back to work. Well, I was kind of knocked out. Yes, I was taking medicine, but it only got me so far, right? With all of the symptoms. And some women have more symptoms than others, right? Some women have 1 day, some women have 3 days where they're cramping, they've got headaches, they've got these mood swings, they got whatever else is going on, right? And the sheer fact of, some are heavier, some are lighter cycles. So they can be dealing with a lot. And there's also other health issues that women may have. This is why I kind of relate with the menstrual leave. It can be attuned to a disability. If you have an ongoing, disability that has you in pain, whatever it may be, you're likely going to need some additional accommodations, maybe more time off. So this is kind of being in the gap for that, right? So you don't have to take all of your sick time because you may need that. It's offering that leave considering women are unique to this scenario. Men don't have this situation. So Edward says no. So his vote is no. Conscious Business Services is saying hi, everybody. Ted says, oh, it's just 1 day off. Then that ain't so bad to the employer. Right, 1 day a month wouldn't be too bad. For me, that's likely, I don't even know if I would necessarily take a day every month. It would just depend. Like if something changed and 1 month it was just really bad, then yeah, I'm probably going to take that. It's similar to even mental health days. There are companies that offer mental health days that you could take off. Some people will take mental health days off, some won't, right? Or personal day. Very, very similar, right? So some may take it, some may not. It depends. But it's nice to see that, hey, you're entitled to taking this time. We understand you will have a menstrual every month. If you need the time off, you can take it. 2 different exes of mine suffered from and this is what I was thinking of. I'm glad you brought this up, Sharky. So they suffer from endometriosis, very tough condition for women. Sharky, oh my God. First of all, Sharky, thank you for understanding. There's so many issues that can come and so much pain that some women are in from having, the womanly parts. I won't have to name everything. Um, and that's one condition, right? And that can cause you to have heavier cycles, more pain during your menstrual cycle, and a host of other symptoms too. I'm so glad you brought up this comment. This comment right here. Thank you, and I appreciate you being very empathetic. That's and men don't know, so I'm not gonna, um, you know, make it seem like, oh, men, you should all know this. You may not know if you haven't maybe had a sister or mom or a girlfriend or wife that has gone through it or had a really hard time and you've seen it yourself. You may not really be able to relate to what we're talking about because you don't have a uterus, right? You don't have a menstrual cycle, so it can be hard for you to really grasp. Okay, why would you need time off for that? Penny says some women's symptoms are more severe than others, so I get it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I did work unless it was extreme. So thank you, Angel. So yeah, if you had an extreme case, then yours might have been better, right? I get that. Hello, Dance87. How are you? Welcome. Hi, Coach Sherry. What do you think about this? This is a very thoughtful benefit. Thank you. I appreciate that comment, Coach Sherry. So Coach Sherry, it sounds like she is with this and understands the benefit of it. One day where a majority of HR will be off. The plan is sounding more appealing the longer we talk about it. Again, not every woman is necessarily going to take the time. Now, I do like the point that was made earlier, though, that yes, women, this is just something that can happen. Women that are close contact with each other, sometimes their cycle syncs up together. So what happens with all the women? The women are like, all right, we peacing out for the day. We all have our cycle, so we're taking this day off. Of course, there would be some planning. There would need to be some logistics. There would need to be some policy in place, right? Um, Goodness, I hope that the scenario wouldn't be just everyone just pieced out. Okay, I'm trying to catch up with the comments, but I think I might have missed a lot. Ted says the employees who might need to pick up the slack are those who are inactive. I don't know if I'm catching that comment right. Put aside the pain. Do believe this is time for women to go into their emotions and release what needs to be released. In my opinion, it's time to pray, meditate, rest, and restore. There you go. I do feel that way because you just go through a lot during your menstrual cycle. It is a lot. It is. And we've kind of learned to gloss over things. And even with carrying a child, we're made to think, we're strong. You could do it. This isn't it's actually this is a medical condition that you're in, right? But yes, I think we should take the time to really assess how we're really doing and if we do need that time off. I think it's smart, Hi, KB. Shout out to another member. Hello, welcome. Shout out to you. There are many inequalities concerning this. Another thing being argued is how monthly podcasts can be purchased using HSA but not with EBT. Wait, what? Oh, products can be purchased. That's true. That is true. That's another great point. Very great point. Okay, I want to move on to the next company I want to talk about. So we talked about Shani. This is an LA-based company. It is queer and feminist run. So that is a key point there. The leadership made this decision because they get it. They get it, right? They understand. They get it. The next one I want to talk about, I'm probably just going to move to Novento. This is another US-based company. Let's see if I can find the article so I can actually show you what I'm looking at. Let me see. Okay, so you guys know I'm a recruiter. I have a lot of tabs open, so bear with me. I, at one time, can have so many tabs open. It's a problem. It's a problem. I won't lie. It is. Okay, so this article is saying menstrual leave, why some companies are offering. are offering time off for periods. Hopefully you can see that. Wait, is this the same? No, this is not the one I want. Let me look. How did I? Okay, so I just saw this article and I keep seeing it when I am. Oh, here we go. It's by Vice. Okay, this one. There's so many, like the advertisements running all over the place. I'm having, I'm having a time. Okay, so this is Vice.com. Let's try this, share this one. Let's try this again. I know the comments are running. Hopefully, Edward, you're doing an okay job of acknowledging all the comments. Okay, I think this is the one from Vice. So let's pull this one up. Okay, so some companies are finally offering period leave. So this says food delivery service Zomato. This is the one I was trying to show you earlier. They're leading the pack by offering employees 10 days of paid time off each year for that time of the month. That's what they're saying. On any given day, an estimated 800 plus million girls, women, and transgendered folks will be having their periods. Now, I don't know. You're going to have to tell me the science, but I don't know if transgender folks do get a period or not. But that's interesting. Honestly, I have to say, I don't know if I would sign up for this. I don't think I would, but everyone makes their choice. So the number of people who menstruate and I wonder if this is why these things are actually happening, because if transgendered, if they're actually having menstrual cycles, then I can imagine they're able to more easily push this to get changed. Okay, so they're saying they're being a little graphic in there, so I'm going to skip that part. So Zomato, the massive Indian food delivery startup, is taking a big step to destigmatize menstruation and make its 5,000 person workforce, so it's definitely a startup, feel more comfortable taking time off during their monthly menstrual cycles. On Saturday, Zomato's founder and CEO, Dipinder Goya, announced that anyone in the company who menstruates is eligible for up to 10 days of paid period leave every year. Now, everyone that menstruates. So I wonder, what if you don't, but you can technically say you do. I do wonder about that. So there may be, I don't know if they'll kind of bring in, you need to have a doctor's note or anything as proof, but I do wonder. As a model, we want to foster, because even women, there's a point you get to a certain age, your menstrual stops. So what about women that no longer have that, but they want that time off? To the point earlier about people abusing the system, right? So there could also be that happening, or so many things. But yes, just like people abuse sick time, they could abuse this. There shouldn't be any shame or stigma attached to applying for a period leave. You should feel free to tell people on internal groups or emails that you were on your period leave for the day. Goya also added a PS to the men in the company who might scrunch their faces and express their displeasure at having to hear someone speak the words, "I'm having my period," out loud. This is a part of life. While we don't fully understand what women go through, to my point earlier, we need to trust them when they say they need to rest this out, he wrote. I know that menstrual cramps are very painful for a lot of women, and we have to support them through it if we want to build a truly collaborative culture at Zomato. And there you have this image. Zomato made the post. Going forward, women at Zomato can avail up to 10 period leaves in a year. This also applies to transgender people working at Zomato. So they're being very equal in what they're saying, right? And there you go. So that's Zomato and what they're offering. Let's see what folks in the comments are saying. Let's see what y'all are saying. I want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for assigning my message. Oh my gosh, of course. I'm trying to hit everyone's message up. I don't like going to someone's chat and they completely ignore your message, but I get it. It's really hard to keep up with the chat sometimes. Have we talked, Angel or not? I had another channel. Oh, I don't know. Oh, you're talking to Angel. What was the name of the first company you listed? So the first company I listed, I'm going to throw it in the chat here, is Shawnee. And I'm going to say LA based. This is an LA based company, right? So Shani is a queer and feminine led astrology app company, kind of like there was one astrology app that I knew about and I forgot the name of it, but it's an astrology app. And then Zomato is an India based company. The next one I'm going to talk about is a company based in Kansas City, and they also have a location in New Jersey, and they're called Nuvento. So we're going to look at them. I'm great. Glad you're doing well, Dance87. That's good to hear. Hey, it's the weekend. Last day of the weekend, you know. Let's see. I think everyone's just saying hi to each other. Oh, Coach Sherry says, my line sister has a business, No More Secrets, and they deliver mental products to women all over Philadelphia. Period. Poverty is real everywhere. That's true. These products are very expensive too. They're very expensive. There's a lot of products, there's multiple options you can choose from. However, it's costly. It is. And yeah, to your point earlier, if your HSA isn't covering that, why is it not covering it? King of Kill says 10 days doesn't seem like enough. So I would agree. I would say at least one day a month would be good, but this is a step. I'm honestly just thankful that some companies are actually acknowledging, like, hey, you have a cycle, and it causes you pain. Let's actually do something about that and offer you some time off so you're not miserable when you're at work. And think about not just the work from home, or office jobs where you can get a heat pack, or you have a little more flexibility with how you handle your scenario. But think about someone working in a warehouse. Think about a nurse, right? Think about that. Like, can you imagine lifting items, working at UPS, working in a hospital, caring for your patients, and you're cramping. You have to take multiple breaks at a time. You got to go get the Midol. You got to go get this. You got your hormones are all raging, and just, I mean, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot to deal with. So I get it, King of Kill. I love that you're saying 10 days doesn't seem like enough. I really appreciate the fact that in the chat, men are seeming very understanding and empathetic, just like the CEO of Zomato, like being very empathetic to women and making that statement. That's awesome. It doesn't seem like enough, not even once a month. I would say a start for once a month, definitely, at least, right? As someone that, for me, my first day, so I would probably likely use the once a month if I really needed it. I'm gonna take my earrings out. It's like, sorry y'all. It's like rubbing against my AirPod. And so I don't like that. I don't. And I keep hearing the clicking sound. I don't know if you all are hearing the clicking sound, but I'm not liking that very much. Okay, so we've got Shani, we've got Zomato. I'm going to throw Zomato in the chat just in case anyone wants to know that one. Zomato is India-based, though. I don't know where their operations are outside of India. Hey, Zero, welcome in. It's a start, I suppose, says Pandy. Right, it's a start. It's definitely a start. Okay, so where's the other article? So we got Vice.com, who put out the first article, and then we have this next one. Let me see if I can find the Nuvento article. This isn't it. I might just have to search it real quick and then pull it up, or it might have to be my last one. So this was the other company. This is GOG, Good Old Games. So they recently announced that they will offer its employees menstrual leave, allowing anyone suffering from excessive period pain or other complications extra time off. It makes the studio one of the first companies in the games industry to offer such a benefit to its staff. Its parent company, CD Projekt Red, is also looking into providing similar leave options. As first spotted by Axios, the Poland-based company. This is a Poland-based company. So we've got a Poland-based company a India-based company, and then we have 2 US-based companies. So they announced on LinkedIn on April 1st that it was going to start offering extra paid time off for all affected employees, right? A GOG spokesperson told Axios they estimate this will amount to an extra day per quarter for employees who take advantage of the time off, but also told the outlet that staff members are free to take more time off whenever period pains occur. Employees can also choose to just take a few hours leave rather than full days. I actually like that model. It offers some flexibility because sometimes you just don't need the full day. Maybe you start that morning and you're in pain all morning, right? And then you feel better afterwards, right? Or maybe you just have certain moments where the cramps are just extremely, like they're just unbearable, and then they're bearable throughout the rest of the day. So you can take your time as you need it. I do like that model. Let me know what you all think about that. So we're saying menstrual leave fosters inclusiveness by accepting that there are biological differences in the workplace, which is very true. GOG wrote in the post announcing the new plan. By giving additional days off for those experiencing menstrual period pain, we acknowledge these symptoms are real. Again, like I said earlier, it has always felt very glossed over. Like, oh, you're in a period, you're acting weird because of that, and you're crazy and whatever. Like, well, if you had your hormones changing up every month and you had to deal with the physicality of what's happening through your body and the pain associated with that, then you'd probably understand. So GOG's culture and communication manager, Gabriella, told Axios that the new policy is experimental, that the company would evaluate throughout 2022, so this is a new plan, how these additional days off impact the well-being of GOG employees. After that, the storefront may expand the policy next year, though there are no details as to what they may entail. So that is GOG. Okay. And so let me see if I can find Nuvento, because that was the other company that had this, new policy. So let's see. Oh, I don't want to get rid of that. Nuvento is the other company. Nuvento Menstrual Leave. I think this is it. Okay, there were 2 articles by the Washington Post. That's why I was so confused. That's why, because one is talking about one company and then one is talking about another one. Okay, so this one has 2. So I'm going to highlight this one. Let me remove this. Let me check the comments before we move on to that. And then we have to talk about some other topics too. Hi, Zero. You're so kind. Thank you. You're really sweet. Coach Sherry says, if Shawnee is an app-based business, I wonder how many of their employees work remotely versus going into the office. True, because I would imagine if a lot of the startups, a lot of the tech firms, they really don't have much of a problem with employees working from home, because what are they doing all day? What a majority of their staff doing in that day? They're on their computer. Roles that are more facilities based, where you're greeting people in the office, maybe you're cleaning the office, you are organizing things in the office, you're producing content in a studio, you have to do this there. Different jobs. It really just depends. But yeah, I would agree that their jobs are likely mainly remote. Ted is saying, did I hear Spain was making this menstrual leave thing a national policy? I'll have to look into that, Ted. That's interesting. I've lived in Spain before. I wouldn't be surprised. Having lived there, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's smart. I do. I think it's smart because you're recognizing women. Jessica, I hate to be insensitive, but I already have persons abusing sick leave. I just don't need to have to deal with period leave. Interesting. I get that. I totally get where you're coming from. I do. I think it's all about how you put in place the policy, right? So if folks need to take sick time, maybe there's a certain requirement for it, right? Or maybe it gets reviewed every quarter, the amount of sick time you're taking, and you have a discussion about it, right? So yeah, it just really depends. Let's see. At least you're trying to see both. Yeah, definitely. At least you're here. You're listening. You're getting the insight. I get it. And I get where you're coming from, because time off in general, I feel like with paid time off, the great thing about that is that it's worked into a compensation plan. We know that each employee is going to have this amount of time off. With sick time, you build in 10 days. So you need to be able to function. Okay, what if every employee took 10 days of sick time? What does that mean to you? If every employee took a day off every month of menstrual leave, what would that mean to you? Or at least the percentage of the workplace that would do that, that has a uterus, right? So yeah, that makes sense. Sharky says there are only 44 women CEOs running Fortune 500 firms. Progress has been made, but that's still only 9%. I believe that women's health issues will become a higher priority with more more female or women leadership. Definitely, because we know that Shani, you know, feminist-led company, queer and feminist-led. So there's definitely truth to that. Okay, let's move on to the next company. So the next one is Nuvento. Let's see if I can actually find it through my number of tabs here. But I love the conversation. I do get your point, Edward, about hey, I need people to work. This isn't playtime, right? I need you to be here. But I guess the idea is, how much is that going to take away having a day off? Or would a model for you, Edward, be more of you can take a few hours, like you have so many hours of menstrual time that you can take off? I think that could also offer some balance. If folks aren't taking a full day and they're just saying, hey, I need 3 hours because, this starts this morning, I gotta, they don't have to tell that much detail, I would hope. But to just say, hi, I need to take this time off, right? What difference is that from someone saying, in flexible work environments, if you do have a flexible work environment, saying, a guy saying, hey, my kid has this thing, I gotta leave work 2 hours early. I can hop back on later, or tomorrow I can kind of make up for it, but I gotta do this. Or, hey, my kid is sick, my wife is sick, I have to take them somewhere, right? And that's going to take an hour or two out of my day, right? Or a half day, whatever it may be, right? Or I have, we're working in the house, and I have to meet this contractor, I have to do whatever. I'm going to be taking, I'm going to have this, I got to take the time off. So the argument, I think, is more so the fact that it is specific time for the menstrual leave. But what if there's a policy to say you make up the time, you can make up your time. You feel better on Friday, you had to take the time off on Monday. Well, I'm working a little later on Friday because I took that menstrual time. So there's definitely, I'm sure, going to be some balances, checks and balances put in place. So this is the other company I highlighted, Nuvento. So this is a global software company with locations in Kansas City, I think, and then New Jersey. They recently announced that employees can take 1 day of menstrual leave per month. Although the policy is very new, workers have so far welcomed it, and they feel heard and more comfortable, which I really think that's the goal. I really feel like companies want to acknowledge the fact that we understand that you're going through this. We are going to offer something if you need it, right? It's the same way if companies want to hire more diversity, they're going to say, hey, we recognize that you're diverse. We welcome that. We value that. And we're showing you how we do, right? If we value those with disabilities, listen, we understand you have this disability. We are going to tell you that we welcome you, and we're going to show you that we welcome you by giving you accommodations, right? By giving you time off if you need that. Y'all, I keep getting these jewelry ads. I just bought some jewelry. Leave me alone. Okay, the last company I want to talk about is Modi Body. It's an Australian company that makes period underwear. They launched a policy that offers 10 days of paid leave annually for reasons related to menstruation, menopause, and miscarriage. Other things that aren't talked about, right? when a woman is going through menopause, I don't know. That's something that I can't relate to yet. Give me, when does that happen? Does it happen at 40? I don't know. But 40, 50, 60, I don't know when it happens actually. Maybe I need to start researching this. But, menopause, that's another change in a woman's life. Do you need time off to, deal with the impact of that, the mental impact of that? I think even over the physical impact, but there's also physical changes that happen. That I'm glad that they included it as well. And then miscarriage, because yeah, we offer time off, we offer maternity leave, but what if you miscarried? That's a traumatic experience, right? I love that they're listing that. So they're saying, I truly believe that to allow women to fully participate in the workforce, we have to remove all the barriers. This is the chief executive, Christy Chong. We know that women are suffering. These issues are very normal and common, and they can be debilitating, both mentally and physically. Shout out to Coach Sherry, because she mentioned the mental aspect of it. So let me check out the comments. But that's awesome. That's an Australian-based company, by the way. Modi Body. Let me throw it into the chat. Modi Body. It's progressive, definitely. Definitely, Angel. Definitely. In the same lane, King of Kill it says tampons and the like should be covered by health insurance. Thank you, King of Kill. And shout out to my members, King of Kill and Edward. Definitely check them out if you're interested. I think King of Kill is going to have some content at some point, maybe some gym content, right? Let me not try to talk you into making gym content. I actually like fitness content. And then we have Edward, he has a mix of different content. And then the Smart Aviation channel is aviation focused. Just want to shout you both out. Okay, King Hill says those products are approved to be purchased with the HSA account. I think it depends on the HSA too. They all have different policies and depends on your state. Like, it's really weird. FYI, wild game vitamins are extremely helpful to take daily to minimize monthly flow. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. This bracelet, Coach Sherry says these bracelets are nice. Yes, I just bought one. I bought an ankle bracelet. It's really cute, in my opinion. It was a little costly because it's like gold covering and silver and pearls, but I wanted it, so the Ariana Grande song, Apple Kiss says menopause depends on health and diet. See, I'm not even ready for that conversation. Give me my time. I'm gonna enjoy my time now, because there's always something with women. Like, okay, now we have the periods, right? And then once we get, older, we'll have the menopause. It's like, come on. When is it over? When is it over? Can we get a break? So Apple Kisses did say, though, 40s to 50s for American women is generally a time frame. Menopause can happen at all ages. I had a friend that went through it in her 20s. What? Coach Sherry, no, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. No, I didn't hear that, Coach Sherry. I did not hear that at all. We didn't hear that. We didn't hear it. Menopause is happening earlier for Western women. Wow. That's so interesting. Good luck, Spanish ladies. Thank you, host. Very engaging topic. Have a good night, Angel. Okay, so I want to move on. I want to cover these other two stories real quick, and I'm going to hop off of here. Because we have to talk about this. Just a quick thing. The companies were Zomato, Shani, Nuvento, Modi Body, and Good Old Games. Let me just throw them in the chat real quick so people have them, because I know how it is when folks are like, yes, this. And you're like, what? Like, who are these companies? What is it? I get it. So you can hear me typing, but Nuvento. And then we had Modi Body. And then we had Good Old Games. Good Old Games. And I'll be looking out for more companies too. This can be a continued conversation. Okay. So, what else is in the news right now? So, I want to highlight a couple of things. This is what I saw trending. Your remote employee may be lying. They may be lying. Managers who miss the office could have one more reason to push back against remote work. Employee scams. We've talked about this a little bit, but let's look at this more. Some people hired for fully remote roles in industries like IT are outsourcing their jobs to freelancers. I actually wondered if people were doing this because, there's always that thought of like, you can make this easier if you could just get, and obviously I wouldn't do that, but if you could just get someone to do the work for you for cheap, pay them out of your pocket and have a whole nother job. I do wonder if people do that, but of course I just see that as unethical. You're in an agreement with a company and telling them that you are going to do the work. It causes all kinds of other legal issues. If someone not affiliated with the company is doing work for the company, it has access to company tools and whatever. Anyway, they're exposing companies to risk like data leaks. While the number of employee scams is hard to track, Insider says anecdotal evidence shows an increase in job candidate and employee fraud cases in recent years, proving that many companies still struggle to manage their remote workforces after 2 years of hybrid work. Now, this is a post by someone. They're just talking about it in a conversation. I'm looking at the comments in here. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Why would having another job be scamming? If a person is competent to keep two jobs and excel at them, let's just highlight this person here so you guys see what I'm seeing. I'm a little surprised, but I'm not surprised at the same time, Oh boy. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. Why would having another job be scamming? If a person is competent to keep two jobs and excel at them, I don't see anything wrong with it. As long as each job is kept in a professional way and there is no conflict of interest, I don't really see the problem. I don't really see that quite as the problem because there are people that will work a full-time job, they'll work their set hours where they're focused on that job, and they'll work a second job on the weekends, or they'll work a freelance job, they'll do other work on evenings, whatever their schedule allows for. And their company understands that. The issue here is, I think, more so people getting freelancers to do their work for them, and then also this scenario where they're just working two jobs, the company has no idea. I see both ends of that. Maybe you're afraid that you're going to do your job, you're not worried about that, and you're just worried that the company may get rid of you because they know you work in a second job. But I feel like that does bear some legal issues, right? Especially if you're working for a competitor. What if someone from Facebook says, or Meta says, they're going to work this part-time job at Google? That's not really, they wouldn't like that, and there's reasons why. Someone else says, Ryan Beverly is saying, I think you missed out here. He was clearly underutilized at work, enough so that he started a company. Not just any company, but one that was a competitive threat to yours. You acknowledge he was still a high performer. Now, if they're performing, there are some places that are like, hey, as long as you're doing your work, right? And I do feel more so on that end. If you're doing your work isn't lacking, what's the problem with working remotely, right? When folks were talking about that conversation. You acknowledge he was still a high performer. Sounds like there was a lack of opportunity for one of your best employees. I'm more curious about his perspective now because it sounds like your company missed out on promising leader and messed up on how it was handled. Let me look at this article. Scamming the boss. Some employees are outsourcing their jobs to other people. That's what it says. Oh, I have to join a subscription to really read through this. Okay, well, I'm not paying them $49. We're not doing that. You can't see what I'm seeing right now because I'm in another tab, but I'm not doing that. You're not going to get that out of me today. Not today. So moving on to the next topic. Let me see what you guys think about that, though. Let's see. So these are the companies. Just putting it out there. Spain is voting on the law. Oh, they're voting on it. Ooh, that's exciting. It's very interesting. I could watch you all day because I. Thank you, Zero. You're so sweet. Of course, people do that, is what Zero is saying. I know someone in IT working 3 full-time jobs, all three earning well over um, Y figures each. His home office setup is ridiculous. It's not right. Wow. The name of the game is called Don't Get Caught. Right. And they will get caught. Eventually, they'll get caught. A majority will. I mean, come on. Especially with some of the monitoring tools. This is why companies want these tools where they can monitor what you're doing, right? Because they do have these fears that, you're working with other companies. Are you giving trade secrets away? Are you giving away data? Data is money. Like, that is money. So companies have to hold on to that data, and they have to protect their data, especially when it comes to like customer information and different things. It's important, right? So King Hill says, wow, people are Airbnb jobs now. Right. Exactly right. Exactly. Coach Sherry says, if you're a consultant, that's one thing, but if you're hired as a 40-hour employee, that's another. Let me see if any of my members had anything else to say. If I missed anything. Edward said, okay, cool. Well, at least it ain't outsourcing to another country. Well, who knows? A lot of freelancers, I get reached out to freelancers all the time, and they'll be like, Jessica, we can change your channel. And I'm like, look, this is a hobby for me. It's fine. The people that will find me will find me. It's not a big deal. But they'll go, I have one in my inbox right now. And I'm not knocking their hustle, but I think they're based in like Singapore or India or something. And they're like, Jessica, we can give you these numbers and make you get, this many subscribers and yada yada. So yeah, they're freelancers out here all over. So who knows? They could be using freelancers in other countries. Does that cause any type of legal issues? I mean, just a whole host of things. It's very interesting. I don't know. But I'll have to see if I can look at that article, and if I get any insights after that, I gotta hack the system to get in here and read this article without paying $49. But we're gonna find out. Ted says, sounds like, what is the problem with a man having 2 separate families? So as long as you provide for them. Wait, what? Ted, that's a whole different conversation. But are you saying that, are you kind of equating a man having 2 separate families to someone having 2 jobs, as long as they're doing the job and as long as a man is caring for 2 families? What's the issue? Is that what you're kind of saying? I think that's your comment. That's interesting. That's an interesting comment. How you just how you thought about that. I could see someone trying to make those arguments. I could see that. I can see someone being like, "Oh, what's the problem? I'm taking care of both of them." Um, but they didn't know about this family. Oh yeah, no one knew. No one knew. I didn't have to tell you. Oh, what is trust? Trust? No. I'm just taking care of it. You don't need to know. Right. I do. I think I get where you're coming from. Disclosure from both the employee and his or her company's HR helps mitigate conflict over the multiple revenue stream issue. Interesting, Sharky. Oh, thank you, Apple. Thanks for jumping in and catching the live stream. I hope that you got the information you needed about like the companies offering menstrual leave. I'll keep track of it, and we might have to come on here and talk about it again. Let's see. Loyalty is key, right? But here's the thing that a lot of people are struggling with now. Why be loyal to a company that's not loyal to you? And I feel like a lot of this comes from 2020, where a ton of people that were like, doing great at their jobs, companies were like, what is going on? We can't, like, we got to shut things down. We're not making, we can't feasibly pay as many people as we could before. So people lost their jobs that they thought they'd never lose. they were loyal to their companies, and they're like, well, why should I be loyal to a company that's not loyal to me? Now, I think a lot of the good companies out there, and I worked at a good company where they brought people back as soon as they could. I do feel like a lot of them did that too, but it definitely changed the mindset of a lot of people to say, whoa, it like kind of shocked the system. Like, whoa, I can't depend on you. I have to do other things. I gotta, shake it up and figure out, I gotta watch out for myself here. I understand that too. I do. I understand where people are coming from. I get it. I try to take a balanced approach as much as I can. Let's see. Zero says, hello, Larry. Welcome in. How are you? Hopefully, you're doing well. In some religions, that is perfectly fine to take care of multiple families if you can afford them. That's true. Key being you can afford them. And I think a lot of people want that scenario, but they don't want to have the responsibility that comes with that. And I would also hope that these families understand, like, if, that is a setup, that's kind of a cultural norm. That's their culture. They are used to that type of thing happening versus over here in the Western world, it's not really a commonality openly. Like, it ends up happening. It ends up happening. I mean, whether we like to admit it or not, but it's not something that's just openly accepted, right? Let's see. The next topic is this one. Oh man, our government, man. I don't even know. I need to read through this tax bill, but every time I see a new tax bill, I'm just like, what in the world? What are we doing? Let's see. So let's look into this one. Is this it? I think this is it. Let's see. Okay, so Senate passes climate tax bill. The Senate narrowly passed the Inflation Reduction Act, marking a major step forward for President Biden's domestic agenda. The bill's passage, which had no Republican support, you gotta love that, had no Republican support and required Vice President Kamala Harris. What? Kamala Harris popped back in the. I thought she was on vacation or something. I haven't even been hearing about her. I haven't seen any news reports on what she was doing. Okay, so Kamala's back. Okay, so Kamala had to vote to break a 50-50 tie, and it's expected to pass in the House by the end of the week. It includes almost $400 billion for climate and energy programs that could cut greenhouse gas emissions by more than 40% below 2005 levels by decade's end. The bill also lets Medicare negotiate drug prices directly for the first time and caps out-of-pocket costs. And so they're noting the bill is paid for by tax increases, mostly on large corporations. Okay, so let's pause there for a second. Let's just pause there for a second. Do you really think that companies pay these taxes? Or do you think that companies tend to pass along those costs to their consumers? That's a question for the chat. What do you think? Do you think that they actually pay these taxes? When we hear, oh, it's going to be passed on to the companies, or are we just going to see hikes in prices? We've already been seeing hikes in prices with products, and we've also been seeing shrinkage of the product. So let's take Gatorade drinks, for example. So they're up in the price, or maybe they're keeping the price the same, but now they're shrinking the product. Oh, we're going to put a waistband around this Gatorade. It's just a little smaller, or they're not going to say it's a little smaller. Oh, it has a waistband around it, You just lost like 4 ounces. It's fine. So we're seeing that too. I don't know. I don't know if I fully believe that. Just putting that out there. Okay, so but they're saying the bill is paid for by tax increases mostly on large corporations, including a 15% minimum tax on those of more than $1 billion in profits. So the mega companies, conglomerate companies. It also levels a new tax on company stock buybacks. They've been coming for those buybacks. They have been coming for them. And you know what that's going to look like? I'm wondering what that's going to look like for the stock market. Like, is the stock market going to tank again because of this? Who knows? But that's something else that we're seeing in the news right now. There's Miss Harris. I'm telling you, maybe because I haven't been watching the news as much. Like, it's not very positive, of course. So this is the report. It says by CNBC. I'm not going to read through this right now. Let's see what you all have to say. See what you think. Only be loyal to the company you started. I like that, King of Kill. I do. I like that. I like what you're saying there. And you know, obviously, you're going to have some loyalty to a company. Like you're going into and this is how I see the job search process. Joining a company, you have a contract. It's an at-will contract. Most of the times you're in at-will employment, unless you have a set time that you need to work with a company. They're saying they're going to keep you employed for this set of, amount of years or this set amount of months or whatever. And you're saying that you're going to work for them that set time. But most employee contracts are at will, meaning you can leave at any time and the company can tell you you're leaving at any time. So there's really no loyalty in a sense, but at the same time, you're also agreeing to certain aspects. Like, I will work these hours, I will do these tasks, I will do, etc. Right? In turn, you're going to pay me every week on Friday, right? Or you're going to pay me every 2 weeks on these days, on the 15th and the end of the month, whatever your setup is. You will provide a non-toxic workplace. You will provide me the essentials that I will use to work, all that stuff, right? So that's more the loyalty that I think about. And I think that King of Kill is right in terms of just giving your all to the company. Like I talked about in my Quiet Quit video, you can't just give everything. You can't. You just can't constantly be above and beyond all the time and sacrificing your health or your personal life and things like that for a company. It just doesn't last long if you are doing that, even for a short period of time. We talked about yesterday making $400,000 as an executive assistant, but is it really worth it, right? Let's see. Everyone's agreeing with King of Kill. The men in the chat, I have to shout out the men in the chat again, because this topic is one that I feel like, one, is really difficult for people in general to have empathy and understand something that they don't have to go through, right? I don't have to deal with that. You can kind of be desensitized to certain things because it's not affecting you. So I do appreciate all the men in the chat being understanding, even if you didn't agree with the menstrual leave, being understanding and open to having a conversation, understanding where it's coming from and where that demand is coming from. I really appreciate it. It's great to see, especially in this world of toxic male podcasts. It is great to see, and I say this, not all men are the same, right? So it's just nice to kind of see that on an individual basis with the comments in here. Edward is laughing at me. What did I do? What did I say? Real talk though, Ted says, I know a senior software developer in quality assurance that did outsource his job out of country. He even mailed his hardware key to the team he hired. What? Ted. See, and that's where the employers are coming from. Like, I would see that as an employee scam. You're scamming the company because the company could just do that, honestly, and pay a lot less. But I have to give it to that person. It's like an evil genius, right? It's smart because I've thought about, like, you could do this. Like, I could literally do that. But in this world of remote work, but the ethics in me, right? It's just not ethical to me because I do see myself. What if I had a business? I pay someone to do this task, and they end up, sending their information over to someone I don't even know, and who knows what happens to that data that they were working on. They're supposed to be presenting me a plan to market my company into a certain demographic, and that entails a lot of my data. And this is my baby, right? And they just flip over the information to some random person that I've never met. I didn't hire that person, right? So that's where I'm coming from. I try to take a very balanced view. So that's wild to me that you have that scenario absolutely pass their consumers. Thank you, Coach Sherry. Right, the taxes. Like, oh, we're going to tax these companies when we see plenty of reports showing that companies they don't pay taxes. They're not really paying. Now, they pay taxes, but in terms of the amounts that are quoted for them to pay, no. No. What we find is that they're not really paying the taxes that the government is saying that, hey, we're going to have them pay this much taxes. Well, no, they're going to have tax breaks. Just like, when they're saying, oh, we're going to only tax the most wealthy, it's Americans. Well, they can get around it. They understand they're paying plenty of accountants and lawyers to figure out ways to get around paying X amount of taxes. And so who ends up really paying the taxes? Your average American that doesn't know all the ways they can get around paying taxes, right? That doesn't have a business. They're working for an employer, or that's the kind of scenario we're in. Hello, Laura. Congrats to you again. Thanks for sharing your information. I hope you're enjoying your gift, and I appreciate you being, a continued supporter. Sharky says, yes, indeed, especially since the Great Resignation. Job loyalty is very transactional. I recall in my first big brokerage firm, there were people retiring after 40. Oh, that's hard. That's hard to even say. After 40 to 50 years with the company. Oh, my millennial heart. Y'all know, like, for me, when I first entered the workforce, hearing 10 years with a company, oh, here's Susie, she's been here 10 years. I'm like, what? It's a great thing. It really is. It's great to have that type of tenure, but at the same time, it's not typically where people see themselves, like 40, 50 years out. Most folks don't necessarily see themselves working with a particular company that they started out when they first began working necessarily, but some love it. It's a different mindset, different generation. Interesting, Sharky. Ted says companies pass on fees on to customers. Not sure how well passing taxes onto customers works though. Right. Because we have to buy, okay, right now we've had increases on prices. We had increases on gasoline. What are we going to do? Just not buy gas? Some people have to go physically to work. Other people are traveling to see family or just doing, whatever activities, right? What are you going to do if the gas price is, $7? You're either not going to buy the gas or you are going to buy the gas, and most likely you're going to buy it. Especially for the essentials, for your large conglomerate companies that are, maybe your Procter and Gamble or your GlaxoSmithKline and all these companies that offer like their food products, your toothpaste, your lotion, your soap, your essentials. They hike up prices a bit. Maybe you'll go to generic brands, but then they start increasing the prices, right? And so it's the demand really isn't going to go away, so they can kind of get rid of hiking prices a little bit. And they're not just going to have the price of soap be $5 one day and then it's $10 the next day unless something drastic happened, right, with the supply chain. It's going to slowly uptick. They're going to slowly kind of shrink the product. So you normally get a 10-pack for $10. Now you get an 8-pack for $10. They're still increasing the price technically because they're offering you less product and you're paying that same price. And that's what we've also seen. We've seen that over the years. We've seen instead of companies raising the price, they just shrink the product, or they put more air in the bag. If you're buying a bag of chips, they put more air in the bag. So maybe you were getting 80% of the chips. Now you're getting 60% of chips. Now you're getting 50% of chips. So half the bag is air and the rest of the bag is actual chip product. So there's a lot of ways that, companies can do that for sure. Now, I love companies that are more focused on, I love companies that are very focused on their customer and getting them the best price. There are companies that focus there, trying to give the best quality as it can and finding that balance with quality and getting the best price to the consumer. But eventually, being realistic, companies, they're built to be efficient. And so to be efficient, you got to manage prices. And so if there's hikes in taxes that increase your overhead costs, increase your expenses, well, then you have to figure out how you're going to deal with that. And oftentimes, we don't want to pay it. How do we not pay this? Or how do we make up for it? How do we increase our profits now that we, have these increased expenses? Or we have to make cuts. We talked yesterday about the layoffs that are happening with companies. So anyway, I'm going to close this out soon. Let's read the last of the comments. Sharky says, Jess, it's a good bill. It closes some tax loopholes. Oh, I'm not going to say anything about the bill itself. I'm not going to say anything about the bill itself. I do think that we have to work on just the infrastructure overall in this country. Our gas, we have a long way to go in terms of being more eco-friendly and things. So I totally get that. I get that part. I think it's just tough to see that your average American person is going to have a higher tax bill at the end of the day. That's what it translates to me. Just as a good bill. It closes some tax loopholes and enforces some minimum standards. Too many big firms haven't been paying their fair tax share for many years now. So my question is just, will they continue to do what they've been doing and getting around these taxes? That's my question. Sharky would be the person to talk about it, though, because he's our finance guru. So thank you for adding that. But I do question. I'm a little skeptical about that. Pow Pow says, hey, Jessica. Hello, Pow Pow. Welcome. How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're all good and life is great in your world. Oh, gosh, we got some interesting, the trolls have come into the chat, so it must be time for us to start ending it down for sure. I'm just going to get through the last comments, y'all. Once the trolls start coming in here and these robo accounts, it gets weird. Let's see. Zero says there are tax breaks and loopholes they can use to get around it. And that's my point. Is even when there's new tax bills to try to get them to pay their taxes, they still don't pay their tax. They're still not paying as much. Of course, they're paying taxes, right? But they're not paying as much as what's actually stated. Is the issue that I have. But my argument is not that they're not paying any taxes. Companies do pay taxes. They do. Sharky, that's my first nickname. I changed it. Oh yeah, Pow Pow. Yeah, Sharky, you're late. Pow Pow changed his name a little while ago. I would feel like I would have wasted my life if I worked 40 to 50 years at a company. I think it just depends. If you are happy at a company, you got a thriving career, you're enjoying it, you love what you do, you like the company, you like your people, and you are getting growth and things. I feel like that's great, right? But I do think, Zero, to your point, just the thought of it, of working 40 to 50 years for someone else, it really paints a different picture in people's heads. It really kind of makes you think, wow, maybe you should start a business. Maybe I should do something else. Maybe I need to, am I actually getting everything I want out of this job? to actually be in a scenario where I worked at a company for 40 years. I totally get that. Totally get that, Zero. I kind of feel the same way, but I can also see the other end of how people can kind of find themselves in that scenario. Coach Sherry says it's a culture shock for companies and organizations like local government that people don't want to stay in or don't want to stay and are in for 30 plus years. They leave 35 years. Guilty. Y'all know. Millennials kind of started it. Between millennials and Gen Xers. Yeah. I think kind of started that. So yes. Millennials, we had a bad rap. We still kind of get a bad rap. Like they won't stay and they're asking too many questions. They want too much. They're wanting too much. It's too much. These millennials. And now Gen Z. Like thank goodness. I'm like at the tail end of the millennials, and I just think it's funny that folks are still calling. What is it? Is it Gen Z? Yeah, Gen Z millennials. I'm like, no, they're not even millennials. Millennials are grown. Like, stop. They just want to call everybody millennials. Like, no. Great show, Jessica. Good hanging out with you. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. You offer some interesting comments. Oh, thanks, Larry. You're still in here. I'm pretty good, thanks. Okay, so people are just kind of telling me how they're doing. I'm going from solid to wait, what? Are you okay? Are you high? What's going on, Pow Pow? What's going on over there in Italy? Pow Pow is making me think he's high. Zero says, well, there is a pact that was signed by Congress called the Trans-Pacific Partnership Pact, or TPP, which allows businesses to supersede any trade law, no matter what trade law is passed. Let's see. I'm closing this out. The younger generations always get blamed for everything that the older generation messed up. That part, I didn't say it. I did not. Jessica did not say it this time. I didn't say it. You guys know I did a video about our generations, baby boomers versus millennials, and you know, I feel like my hair is like not doing what I want it to do. Like, why is it doing this? Anyway, random. Like this side, you know how your hair, like this side is almost perfectly doing what I wanted it to do. And this side, anyway, random vein moment. Gen Z are the young ones in the workforce now. Exactly. So I'm like, blame everything over there. Blame it all over there. It is not us now. You're on the tail end of being a millennial. How old are you? Ask me in a DM or something. I might have an answer for you. Teddy says, peace out. You can tell him I say Zero is being funny. Okay, well, I'm going to close this out. Thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. Shout out again to my members in the chat. King of Kill, Edward Smart. They're awesome. I appreciate you both for being pretty understanding about this conversation overall. And I appreciate Coach Sherry in the chat. Coach Sherry has a channel. She talks about similar topics too. Career-based content. She also posts some interesting pictures and things in New York City and her travels. So I think that's pretty cool if you're interested in that too. Who else do I want to call out? Partly Cloudy just came in here. Hey, Partly Cloudy. So Partly Cloudy's in here. Angel was in here earlier. She does, I think she's still doing the more spiritual angel numbers. Partly Cloudy says, thanks for stopping by my stream. Oh yeah, I was interested in the drag racing. I've never gone to a drag race, but yeah, I couldn't really see much. Thanks for stopping by. All right, I'm gonna close it out. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. I will see you all in the next video. I'll probably plan on going live next weekend now that I'm back to normal. And yeah, it was great to have this conversation. Great to chat with you all. And lovely people, I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. I appreciate you taking a little bit of your Sunday to spend with me. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.